There are many reasons why you may want to select certain features or values from a data set. You may be exploring that to kind of see what values are highest or lowest or in a particular area. One way to do that is just with interactive selection, where you just literally go in and do it by hand, and it's often a quick way to kind of explore your data and kind of see what's there. So let's see how that works. In the toolbar, you can just go up and select by rectangle, select by polygon, by lasso, circle, or line. So let's just start with a rectangle, and literally you just click and drag part of the data set that you're interested in, and it will select anything that's inside that rectangle. Now you'll notice that I have some base map layers that I've also loaded here just to make it look a little better, and it's selecting things that are on all of the layers that are in this data set or in this map. I really just want to select the restaurants, the red dots on top. So if I want to, I can, for one, I can just use this button here that says clear selected features, so I can start over. And then I can right click on the one I'm interested in this case the restaurant layer, and go to selection, make this the only selectable layer. That's just a handy little shortcut in order to be able to make that the selectable layer. You could also go over here to the list by selection, and you'll notice that now my restaurant layer is the only one that's selectable. It's denoted by this little filled in icon there, and that all of these are not selectable. And so when any of the interactions that I do to try and select things using these different interactive methods will only be applied to the one that I have listed here as being selectable. It's a handy little shortcut, just something to know, because often what will end up happening is if you have several different feature classes in your map and you don't want to constantly be selecting things from all of them, you can just tell it, just do the one I right-clicked on here, in this case, restaurants. So now I can go back and just for kicks, let's pick something else like a circle. And if I draw a circle there, I've selected everything that's inside the circle, but now just from the restaurant data set. And I can clear that away. I can do all kinds of things. So for example, the lasso tool is you can just draw any freehand form that you want, and it will select the values within that. One of the great things about this is that when you open the attribute table, you'll see that you can actually show selected records, and it's showing the selection both on the map and in the attribute table, and you can interactively select from the table or from the map and see which things you've selected on the other one. So for example here I could clear selection, and so you see there's no records that are selected, so I'm not showing anything there. If I go back to showing all of them, I could just select a few of them here. I'm just randomly picking them from the top of the table, and you'll notice that they're showing up as being selected on the map. One handy feature in the attribute table selection options is that you can switch the selection, and it's actually warning me because I've got a lot of points in here, but that I've got a lot and it may take a minute. That's okay, I'll just say yes. And so now it's reversed it so that anything that was selected is not selected, and vice versa. It's just another option that's available to you. Again, often when you're doing this, you're exploring your data, you're trying to figure out what you've got or what you might be interested in, and so it gives you these different options for doing that. You can zoom, so let's actually, we'll switch the selection back, and then you can do things like say zoom to selected, and it will actually zoom in to the areas that are selected. Now interestingly, oh okay, so there's a few different areas across the city where that's, that have been selected, so that actually did zoom that correctly. What if we just pick one value, let's say this one, and then we can zoom to selected. I just right-clicked on it there, and so then it's zoomed in quite a bit because there's only one point that's been selected in that case. Okay. Another method that can be used is to draw shapes on something. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here to one part of the city. And if I go to Customize, and I can add in a drawing toolbar, and I can use that to draw shapes on top of my map. Now the interesting thing about when you do this, let me just show you and then I'll explain it actually, is that I'll pick something like a circle, and when I draw that on the map, so I'm actually drawing a circle, that is not being stored inside a GIS data set in any way. It's not a feature class, it's not inside a geodatabase. Think of it as just as though I've drawn a shape on top of my map. And if I save my map document, that will actually be saved on top of my map, but it's not being saved anywhere permanently in terms of an actual file, geodatabase or anything like that. Now, a couple of things here with this is that if I right click on this, you'll notice that I can go to the properties, and even though I've just drawn a circle, because it's inside ArcMap, it actually has geographic properties. It's telling me the size of that circle, the position of that circle. So you can see here, this is the position of it in UTM coordinates. This is the width and height of it. Of course, it's a circle, so they're the same. So it's just over 6 kilometers in size. I could change those. So for example, I could say 5,000, say OK, and apply it. And so now I've got a circle that's exactly 5,000 meters in size. I can say OK. Well, actually, another thing I can do here is change the symbol. So for example, I could take out the fill and make the outline color something that's easy to see. I'm just going to make it, let's see, maybe a bright purple, make it nice and thick, just so you can see it. Say OK. So now I've got a circle on my map, and you can, play around with this a lot, do lots of things with this. And if I go up to the selection menu here and say select by graphics, it will actually select all of the points that are inside the circle that I created. It's kind of a quick way to be able to explore your data. I could just clear that, and if I went and moved the circle over here, I could try again, say select by graphics. So there's lots of options available to you to just select things interactively in order to be able to explore your data.